Would it be okay if I looked around?
Go right ahead. The place is more like a museum than a house.
What are you when you win Bard Bounce? What poet is the cat's meow? What will Para, my miniature golf course, get you? What's Gloria's middle name? Becoder is in the rivet. 2 to the right. Bottom's Q is in note to Gloria. It looks like Josiah lent a trivet to someone, but I can't make out to whom. That looks right. Am I smart or what? I'm getting there. That looks right. Am I smart or what?
Hello, Miss Drew.
Hello, Mr. Topham.
Am I to assume that you have the correct solution to that logic problem?
Right here.
Let's have a look. Why, you appear to have indeed found the solution. Well, since you've proved yourself to be intellectually above average, which means talking to you should do me no harm, what would you like to talk about?
When and how did you meet Josiah Crowley?
Last summer, while on my way to the university for a conference, I stopped for a bite at the Lilac Inn. Since it was crowded and I was in a hurry, I agreed to share a table with an elderly gentleman who, like me, was by himself. As soon as I told Mr. Crowley who I was and what I did, well, he insisted that I give him a training session that very afternoon, and was so thrilled with his progress that he demanded I stay and teach him everything I knew.
So it was his idea that you set up your school in his house?
Oh, I know rumor has it that I somehow tricked him into it, that I insinuated my way into his home, but I assure you that was not the case.
Were you surprised when you found out that Josiah had left you everything?
Delighted? Yes. Surprised? Not really. Josiah was all alone, you see, surrounded by people like the Crandalls and that banker, Jim Archer, people who were nice to him only because they knew he had money.
Did you hear about the explosion and fire at the Lilac Inn this morning?
I heard the explosion and fire. Ruined my 9 o'clock session.
So you were with a customer when it happened?
Pupil. I was with a pupil. I run a school, not a vegetable stand, and yes, I was. Until I dismissed her 20 minutes early. All the ruckus made concentration impossible.
How well do you get along with Emily and her guardian, Jane?
Very well, as far as I'm concerned. But as far as they're concerned, well, the fact that Josiah left everything to me made some people around here, including Emily and now this Jane Willoughby, very bitter. It hurts me, of course, but it's human nature, I suppose.
Would you happen to know what Gloria Crandall's middle name was?
I haven't the foggiest.
Do you mind if I look around some more?
Be my guest.
Was this Josiah's clock?
Everything in here was Josiah's. As you'll soon realize, Josiah's mental faculties were starting to go, I'm afraid. He tended to ramble. Very little of what he wrote in there makes sense.
The man on stage in this picture, is that Josiah?
Yes, that's from a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream that he directed and starred in. It closed after 2 nights, but he didn't care. He loved that play.
Oh, a miniature golf course! Swell! Oh, horse feathers. looks like I'm supposed to put my scorecard in here when I'm done.
What's cooking?
Have you met Richard Topham?
Yeah, I've had the displeasure of meeting that quack.
You don't think he can help people develop their psychic powers?
The only thing he's good at is separating little old ladies and dim-witted rubes from their hard-earned cash. In fact, he came over while they were putting out the fire today, asked me who you were, and I was so frazzled at the time I told him. I don't usually give that crackpot the time of day.
Does everybody around here feel that way about him?
Not everybody. Like that circus fella said, there's a sucker born every minute. Me? I think ESP is a lot of JUNK.
Where did that barred bounce game that's in the parlor come from? Do you know?
Emily says Josiah Crowley brought it in one day and just left it. Said it was so guests, as in him, would have something to do while they waited for a table.
Does the miniature golf course that's out back belong to the inn?
No, that was Josiah Crowley's. Way I hear, he built it himself.
Was it open to the public?
Nope, it was just his own private little course. Can you imagine? Wish I had money to throw around like that.
What was Emily's mom's middle name? Do you remember?
Course I do. It was... Oh, piffle. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It was... It'll pop into this feeble brain of mine one of these days. Why don't you just go ask Emily?
Well, I'll talk to you later.
Don't take any wooden nickels.
Hi, Nancy.
Is the clock in the parlor the one Josiah gave you?
Yes. I don't know why he gave it to us. It's never worked, and nobody can open it to find out why.
Do you know anything about a cue Josiah left your mother in a note?
No. Why?
Oh, just curious. What was your mother's middle name?
Lois. Why?
Oh, just curious. Do you play much miniature golf on the course that's out back?
Not anymore. When I was little, I used to play with Josiah. Sometimes he'd help me get par just so I could get something from the prize machine.
You could win different things?
You always won the same thing, just a different color. It was a little toy dog or something. Very cheaply made, and quite forgettable, obviously.
I'll be back in a little bit.
You're the bee's knees.
That car I saw before is gone. Hello, are you Mr. Waddell?
So what if I am?
I found this receipt, and I just wondered what you could tell me about it.
Let me see that. One key, determine resale value, item 493. Oh yeah, this was for that key Jim Archer wanted me to appraise.
Jim Archer wanted you to appraise a key?
It was very ornate, had jewels all over it. Fake jewels, as it turned out. When I told him it was worthless, the cheapskate refused to pay me and told me to keep it.
Do you think I could have it?
Sure. Once you pay the appraisal fee,
Which is...
$1.50.
Here you go.
Good. Here's the key. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm looking for Jim Archer.
Right through that door. Hello! Are you Nancy Drew?
Sounds like Emily called you.
Yes, ma'am. Jim Archer. I'm founder, president, manager, and just about everything else you can name when it comes to this fine enterprise.
I hear that some businesses aren't doing so well these days.
Ever since the stock market crashed, one business after another has closed, including banks. President Hoover keeps saying that a recovery is just around the corner, but you have to wonder.
Is your bank doing okay?
I'm happy to report that we're doing just fine, thank you. Excuse me. Main Street Bank, Jim Archer speaking. No, I don't. I'm sorry, but... Yes, I know, but... All right, then just bring it by. Sorry for the interruption. How can I help you?
Do you happen to know whether the jewelry Emily inherited from her mother was insured?
Well, I know for a fact that it was not. Why?
Because someone snuck into the inn today and stole it.
Oh, no. I heard there'd been a fire in the kitchen, but when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? I told Gloria not to let that policy lapse.
Why did she let it lapse?
She felt that since Josiah Crowley would be leaving her a large sum of money when he died, or so she thought, paying to insure her jewelry just wasn't necessary.
How well did you know Josiah Crowley?
Well enough for him to name me executor of his will. An executor is the person who makes sure the terms of a will are carried out.
Why do you think he wound up leaving Gloria nothing?
I have no idea. Truth be told, he'd given me the impression that I would be well taken care of when he passed on too. But when I finally read his will, it all went to Topham.
Where did Josiah keep his will?
He'd hidden it in a chest of drawers in his house. It took me months to find it. When he named me executor, he said he'd tell me where it was hidden when the time was right, whatever that meant.
The will you found in Josiah's house. Is it possible that Josiah didn't really write it?
Well, the thought that it could be a forgery did cross my mind. But an expert verified that the will had been typed on Josiah's typewriter and signed in Josiah's hand.
But Richard Topham lived in Josiah's house. He had access to his typewriter, and he could have copied his signature.
As far as the law is concerned, the matter is closed, Miss Drew.
But it's possible that Josiah's real will is still out there. Are you sure he never gave you any clue as to where he'd hidden his will?
Whenever I asked him, he said he'd tell me when the time is right. Although, he got a safe deposit box here about 3 years ago.
Maybe that's where his real will is.
Topham has tried to claim its contents, but he can't find the key.
Maybe he knows the real will could be in there, only he wants to destroy it.
Now, Miss Drew, I wouldn't go jumping to any conclusions.
How well do you know Jane Willoughby? You know, Emily's guardian?
Not well at all. Met her once or twice. Seemed a little flighty.
Do you think Emily's going to be able to run the inn by herself?
Times are just too tough. If she's smart, she'll sell before the bills start piling up.
How did Josiah die?
He was sitting in the public library reading when apparently his heart just decided it was time to stop.
What was he reading?
His favorite book, The Make-Up Secrets of Lon Chaney.
What's your opinion of Richard Topham?
Interesting gentleman who's in an interesting line of work.
Does he do business here?
Yes, he does.
Jane thinks he's a crackpot.
He makes a living doing whatever it is he does, so obviously someone thinks he's the real deal.
I guess I'll be going.
Goodbye now.
Don't you ever use this typewriter?
That used to be Josiah Crowley's. It was the only thing he left me in his will. Naturally, it doesn't work. The keys always jam.
October 9, 1929. Dear Mrs. Sheldon, here is the trivet I said you could borrow for your party at Twin Elms. Please take care of it because I will want it back someday. Your friend, Josiah C. I wonder if Josiah ever got his trivet back. Who's Clara?
Clara Pickford is this lonely old woman who comes in here every once in a while. Took a shine to me for some reason, insisted on giving me that picture.
Is this your car?
Yes, it is. Bought and paid for.
Did Josiah Crowley give you this clock?
Yes. Unfortunately, it stopped keeping time almost immediately.
It would sure be nice to be able to open this thing.
Hello again.
Was that your car I saw parked near the Lilac Inn this morning?
I haven't been there in months. You saw someone else's car. It's a very popular make and color, you know.
I just wonder what it was doing there.
Probably just someone sneaking onto that miniature golf course that Josiah built back there. Or bootleggers. I hear they frequent that area too.
The key that you had Mr. Waddell appraise, could that be the key to the clock that Josiah Crowley gave you?
It might have been, I suppose. You know about that?
I found the receipt on the path to Richard Topham's house.
Really? I thought I'd thrown it out. You see, when he told me the key was worthless, I lost all interest in it.
So, it would be all right if I kept the key for myself?
I have no use for it. In fact, if you want that old clock, you can have it too.
I guess I'll be going.
Come back anytime.